Apologize, everyone, for keeping you waiting. We're waiting for one more for quorum, and Councillor Aidan Johnson was at the prayer breakfast this morning, as well as I, so I'm hoping he's on his way back. And Councillor Collins, I'm not sure where he is. Councillor Brenda Johnson and Councillor Jason Farr are on vacation away, though, so we need one more for quorum.
Councillor Collins said he's on his way.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Councillor Collins, for allowing us to meet quorum. And now I'm going to call this meeting of Planning Committee to order. Members of the public are advised our meetings are webcast live by the City of Hamilton and temporarily archived on the City's website. Other individuals in the meeting may also be audibly and or visually recording this meeting. As well, please a reminder that electronic devices are to be switched to non-audible functioning during committee meetings. Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda today?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have an added notice of motion respecting Council approval of Heritage Permit Application HP 2017-020 to replace expired Heritage Permit HP 2013-037 for 970 Beach Boulevard, Hamilton.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended, moved by Councillor Collins, second by Councillor Partridge. All in favour? Carried. Councillor Partridge?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just for quorum purposes, I need to leave at 11 for some appointments for my father.
We have Councillor Aidan Johnson should be en route, so hopefully we'll be fine. Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest this morning? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 18th meeting, moved by Councillor Green, second by Councillor Skelly. All in favour? Thank you. And delegation requests, we have 4.1 is Greg Tedesco, South Mountain Planning Team, Social Planning and Research Council of Hamilton, to make a presentation to Planning Committee to educate members of our council about purpose and accomplishments of the South Mountain Planning Team, and as well as discuss the neighbourhood's needs and priorities, and that will be for today's meeting. So may I have a motion to approve the delegation request for today's meeting and waive the rules? Moved by Councillor Skelly, second by Councillor Green. All in favour? Thank you, everyone. Going to go on to consent items. You have before you consent items 5.1. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve. This is Veterans Parking Permit Program, moved by Councillor Skelly, second by Councillor Collins. All in favour? Thank you. Item 5.2 is the amendment to bylaw 12031. This is for responsible animal ownership licensing of service dogs and training. Councillor Green?
Thank you very much. And you'll recall my co-op student, Deanna Lane, brought this forward, and it's amazing that you don't really notice the training dogs until you notice them, and then you see them everywhere, and certainly she's appreciative. She asked if she had to be here today to delegate, and I thought, based on the work that staff have done, I want to thank Ken and his team and everybody who worked on that file. It was very simple, but again, the impact will be huge for those people who are investing their time and resources into training dogs that will eventually be out in the community servicing people with varying degrees of abilities and challenges. So great news story. I certainly look forward to council being able to ratify it and seeing some of the folks come with their service dogs. So thank you for removing that barrier.
Thank you, Councillor. Appreciate that. And I'm just going to comment that the young lady was here at council, as a matter of fact, and I did go up and have a chat with her because I thought she was here to hear something coming forward, and she was here for the LRT issue. And I said, that's fine, we will be dealing with this at planning today. So she was aware about that, and I appreciate it. So with that, moved by Councillor Green, second by Councillor Partridge, and then we'll thank you. Okay, Councillor Partridge?
Yeah, just very, very briefly, but I want to say how impressed I am with Deanna. And, you know, for those watching out there in her age group, or anyone for that matter, she is a perfect example of that you can, in fact, make a difference when you come and speak to our committees and bring an idea forward, work with the councillors to advance that agenda. And here we are today approving it, and I expect it to be unanimous. So I just want to say congratulations, and you know, everyone pay attention. I think it's a great example of what can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. With that, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried. And before I close off on both items 5.1 and 5.2, would staff please carry back to all the staff that were involved in both of these items our thanks. It's great when they can fly through, but we also want to make sure they recognize and thank you for all the hard work they've done. So moving on now, do you have that? Thank you. Item 6.1 is application for amendment to City of Hamilton zoning bylaw number 6593 for lands located at 390 Aberdeen Avenue, Ward 1. I have to read this off. Members of the public, in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act, please be advised that if a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Council of the City of Hamilton before Council makes a decision regarding the zoning bylaw, amendments, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Council of the City of Hamilton to the Ontario Municipal Board, and the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Municipal Board unless, in the opinion of the Board, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So I'm going to call out 3 times now. Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak to this item today? This is again with regards to 390 Aberdeen Avenue. Is there anyone in the audience? Please indicate by hand. Going once, going twice, seeing none. So seeing that there is no one, and I know Councillor Aidan Johnson is not here. I believe he is supportive of this. May I have a motion to close off to the public meeting? Councillor Partridge, second by Councillor Collins. All in favour? John Arians is here from IBI Group. John, did you have any comments or questions? Wonderful. Love to hear that. Thank you very much. So with that, then, we have no questions or comments from committee. May I have a motion to approve the staff recommendation? Moved by Councillor Skelly, second by Councillor Collins. All in favour? Thank you, everyone. I'm going to move on now. We have case item 6.2. I'm going to call on Greg Tedesco of the South Mountain Planning Team, Social Planning and Research Council of Hamilton to the podium for your presentation. Good morning, everyone. Councillor Skelly, did you wish to speak first or at the end? Thank you. And I apologize. I'll let you finish that, but I forgot to add, I don't believe there were any submissions on this regarding the item 6.1. Sorry.
There was just one printed with the report, and it was in support.
Okay. So we can say submissions made regarding this matter did not affect the decision. So you'll add that. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today with this great group of residents from the south end of Ward 7 in the Barnestown, Butler and Chapel neighborhoods. We're here today to give a brief presentation and introduction to the South Mountain Planning Team and the South Mountain Neighborhood Engagement Project. My name is Greg Tedesco. I'm a community developer with the Social Planning and Research Council supporting this project. You'll see in front of you a couple documents. One is a neighborhood profile, similar to what you might have seen in some of the neighborhood action strategy work. That gives a different kind of picture, statistical-wise, of the communities that we're working in, and also a document prepared by the planning team. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask that at the end. But I'm going to turn it over to the residents to talk a little bit about their experiences. 4 of the 6 who have never actually stepped foot in council chambers, 5 of the 6 who have never actually stepped up to this podium. So I think that's an amazing accomplishment for them today to be in here presenting to you. So without further ado, here are the residents.
You told them we don't bite, right, Greg? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Victoria Callback, and I'm a resident of Kiwanis Homes in the South Mountain community. I've lived there for 16 years, and just a brief background about the South Mountain neighborhood. We're a partnership between Kiwanis Homes, Victoria Park, and McGivney Homes. They're 3 social housing providers in Hamilton. As well as the SPRC we partner with. We received a 2-year grant in 2016 to do some neighborhood-based community engagement work. And so we refer to ourselves as the South Mountain Community. The initiative itself is modeled on the experience and learnings from the City of Hamilton's Neighborhood Action Strategy. And you have with you the neighborhood profile in front of you. And it kind of gives you a picture similar to what we saw with the priority neighborhoods when identified as part of the action strategy engagement.
Hi, I'm Barry Kahn. I've lived in the South Mountain community my whole life. The South Mountain Planning Team is a local neighborhood association in the Barnestown, Butler, and Chapel neighborhoods, stretching from Upper Sherman to Upper Wellington and Stone Church Road to just south of Ramo Road. The team of residents has been meeting since April 2016 and works with the local councillors, MP, and MPP's office, as well as many great local partners such as the local social housing providers, Turner Park Library, Today's Family, and the Ontario Early Learners, the city's recreation division, John Howard Society, public health through the Healthy Kids Community Challenge, and more.
Hi, I'm Eddie Aljader, and I've lived in the South Mountain community for about 4 years. The vision of the planning team is the South Mountain is an inclusive, vibrant, and healthy community that welcomes and supports one another. A community that values neighborhood safety, the environment, and many contributions of a diverse population that makes up the South Mountain. Our mission is to bring the South Mountain together and build a stronger sense of community, to engage and build relationships with neighbors and community partners to strengthen our South Mountain neighborhoods and communities, to manage and support the ongoing development of a safe, welcoming, healthy, and beautiful community.
Hi, I'm Anita, and I've lived on the South Mountain for over 30 years. As part of our engagement in the community, we've been asking our residents about their neighborhood. With all the feedback, we've engaged with more than 500 residents through the process. 4 main priority areas have been identified. The first is beautification. We heard support for community gardens and public art. The second is safety, making our streets safer for all forms of transportation and making sidewalks and bus stops more physically accessible for all. Another reason I can speak to sidewalk safety is that over the past 3 years, I have walked every street on the Hamilton Mountain. Wards 6, 7, and 8, so I feel rather qualified to speak on how safe it is for pedestrians. So when you want to know about sidewalks, ask a walker. When you want to know about bikes, ask a biker. I also walk in other areas, and I'm slowly walking downtown, Stony Creek, and Ancaster. What I've discovered with all those steps is that we have a wonderful city, and I love my community, and we need to make it as safe as it can be. The third on the list was environment, prioritizing public water fountains and community cleanup events. And the fourth event was to create an inclusive and vibrant community. Residents have great ideas about how to bring people together and support a friendly and welcoming community.
Hi, my name is Laura Baracle, and I live in the South Mountain community for 4 years. We've talked about the priorities and what we need to address, but we wanted to finish by talking about the assets in our communities and the successes we have experienced so far. The things we and others love about our neighborhood are the many schools in the area, like Breakbuff, Ray Lewis, John Paul II, Marguerite DeVille, and Helen Detweiler. The parks, like Billy Sharing, Elmer Park, and the Chapel East Parquet, local trails, the many children and families in our area, Turner Park Library, and more as we start to engage in the process of mapping our community. We've celebrated community through events including community cleanups, local movie nights, barbecues, arts-based events, a resident-run summer camp, egg hunts, and a Winterfest event in Billy Sharing Park, where we roasted marshmallows with close to 150 attendees throughout the day. And we are only getting started, but we need support from different groups to make that happen, including the city, our local housing providers, other community partners, and the residents within our communities. We hope we've highlighted some of our hard work and successes so far. And as we continue to grow and connect with more residents beyond the 2 years of the South Mountain Engagement Project, we hope the South Mountain will be considered as part of the future neighborhood engagement initiatives by the City of Hamilton.
Hi, I'm Teresa Callback. I've been a resident for about 16 years as well. With all the changes in ownership over the years, I can say that meeting Brian Sibling, the director of Quanah Homes, has been one of the best positive changes in our area. He's genuinely real and a compassionate leader. We've had a conversation about how to help people enjoy where they live and be proud of where we live. Bringing people together, knowing your neighbor, making people feel welcomed when they first move in and feel safe. Thank you. I'm also Victoria's mom.
Thanks, everyone. And also, Barry and Eddie are both out of their high school today, so if they need a note, I trust that they can go to any of you to
Thank you very, very much. That was excellent. Councillor Skelly, you had some questions or comments?
I do. First of all, I want to say congratulations. And Greg, Victoria, Teresa, Anita, Barry, all of you. Thank you so much for coming out today. And I'm very proud of the work that you've done. And in the short time that you've been at this, you've already made such a huge impact in the community. I mean, I noticed all of the events that we've gone to. The one picture on there where you were roasting marshmallows and in the park. I mean, that was such an amazing turnout, and just bringing people together who had never met before. And I'm assuming that that's one of the big things that you've noticed, is that people are discovering each other, discovering their new neighbors, and maybe one of you can speak to the impact of just reaching out to people within your own community and how that has changed the neighborhoods.
Yeah. Absolutely. When you meet people in your community, you automatically feel safer because you can trust others around you and you have resources to rely on and also make friends. And it's good to know everybody in your community, I think.
I wanted to mention Victoria. I met Victoria about a year ago when I was running, and I could not believe that she was with her mom at one of the debates. And I could not believe this young woman who was so interested, genuinely interested in what was happening during the election and followed it. And I immediately recognized a leader, a young woman. And this is the type of person I think that we as women have to really stand behind and make sure that you're able to go as far as you can, because you have, in the little time that I've met you, you've made such a difference in your community. I know your mom is really proud, but so am I. You are the real deal, and I'm really impressed with you. I wanted to ask maybe Teresa, or actually Anita, you talked about walking the neighborhoods. One of the things that I discovered when I ran, I said I was going to move into the neighborhood, and I did, and I'm right near you, through the chair. One of the first things I noticed was the lack of sidewalks, how difficult it is to cross Rymal Road. All of these homes, these townhouses, back onto it, so you really don't have that connection to the front part of the yard, so you don't really get to know people. What would you suggest that we have to do? Because we are going to be spending some money in that area, and I do want to spend time with you afterwards. But what are some of the glaring issues that you've discovered in that area?
Well, I wish I had been assigned this before I started walking, because that would have been more helpful. But I have noticed little places that are just... if I was in a wheelchair, I wouldn't be able to get out of there. If I was trying to catch the bus, I'd either be drenched in mud or... just not able to do it. I've lived on Rymal for 30 years, and I live across from the Tim Hortons by Upper Wentworth. And when I moved there 30 years ago, there was nothing across the road. And it's built up around us, and I know the neighbors on one side, and I know the two neighbors on the other side. I know no one else who lives on our street. So there's a real sense of isolation for some of the houses, and I actually kind of envy the complexes and the townhouses that are all together, because they can develop a real sense of community. So I'm kind of there speaking for the individual houses that are just, sitting there waiting to, get involved.
Thank you for mentioning that through the chair. Isolation is a great word to describe that particular street, because it has become a very diverse, populated area. And there is a need. There's a new high school going in, of course, at Upper Sherman and Rymal. And then, of course, we have a number of schools in the area as it is. But the transit is difficult. Getting off of a bus or getting onto a bus is really tough. And we don't have a sidewalk that runs from Upper Wentworth to Upper Sherman on the south side, and trying to cross the road is really difficult. So that's one of the things I'd like to tell you, that it is a priority of mine, and I think that it will help bring that sense of community. We really need to allow people to walk and move about in that area in much safer means.
Yeah, I live across from Tim Hortons, and on the shoulder of the road, I got the zoning changed to no stopping, because transport trucks park in front of my driveway, and I can't see to get out. So we got the zoning changed, but the trucks are still there. So I can't get out of my driveway. I sit and wait until the guys have finished to get their coffee, and I don't want to, bemoan that. They want a coffee and they want to go to the washroom. I get that, but it's making it dangerous for me. And for people who are walking, they can't walk past an 18-wheeler onto the road or into my ditch to get around them.
And
so
yet
sidewalks will help.
And there are a tremendous number. There really is a huge community that is established already.
Yes, and I would love bike lanes. Bike lanes would be wonderful.
Yeah, that's something that we really do need.
Yeah.
Continue this discussion offline as well. Thank you. And through the chair, Greg, moving forward, what do we want to do now? What can we do, and what should we be working towards?
I think from a starting point, this is a unique partnership. I think to have two social housing providers, the second and third largest in the city, develop this unique partnership, approach us, engage in this work, supported by an Ontario Trillium Foundation grant, is unique not only in Ontario but in Canada, to really say that there needs to be that directed effort in terms of community building, and not just in those the units that are through the social housing, but the broader impacts to the community as well, right? I think right now we're undergoing kind of conversations around sustainability and what that looks like beyond this year, and that's ongoing. But I think there's some really cool potential to keep that momentum going and use that that passion, that energy. Before I said that these residents had never been up here before, would you have believed me? Like they were awesome, and they keep having that passion, and you see through these events and the people that are coming, right? And I think we want to continue to support that, and we want to take what is being said in the community, take those suggestions, the things that are coming back, and find out ways to create action, right? It's one thing to say we're going to talk and we're going to hear what people want, but we need to really make that into an action-oriented strategy now and figure out, where are the partners in that? And like Victoria said at the beginning, so is it partnering with the city department? Is it partnering with the housing provider? Is it partnering with other local residents or businesses? But how do we now take that information that is there, that the community has brought forward, and start moving forward on that? So I think that's going to be one of the big things throughout this year. And then again, the sustainability conversation as we look at from a community perspective, how do we keep this momentum going, and how do we support this in other areas, because it is such important work, I think, to raise these voices, to bring these voices to the forefront, but then, as I said, have that action component too, where it's not just listening, it's not just hearing, it's actually following through, which is that important step in that process.
Thank you for that, and again, thank you for your presentation, and I just wanted to point out that through the chair, that we really do have unique challenges and a diverse population on the mountain, and I think often we are overlooked. But you've made a difference today, and I think you've brought a voice to people who need to be heard, and I am really grateful for the work that you've done, and very, very proud of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Partridge.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and congratulations, everyone. Well done. I wanted to particularly acknowledge the young men. You spoke very well today, and it's encouraging to see the mentorship of everyone to these young folks. I just encourage you to keep connected to your community, get involved, and you don't know, 30 years from now, you could be sitting around this table watching a presentation just as I am today. And Greg, I have a question for you, actually, Madam Chair. I'm just in this project, this wonderful outreach that you've done in your community, and you mentioned, someone mentioned in the presentation about working with other partners, and I'm wondering if you could just unpack that a little bit for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think one of the big things that we wanted to do at the start was to bring some of those partners back to the table in a more direct way in that community. I think it's been interesting as again, the residents here can attest to, that area has experienced a lot of growth and development over the last number of years. And so you've seen a lot of infill, a lot of density kind of coming to the area, but a lot of the services and supports that are in that area haven't really kept up. And so part of that was just seeing, what's already there, what can we activate, what can we, bring back online. Part of that is the community building at 595 Rymal that Kiwanis has, that's been fully renovated, public health approved, and is ready to go for organizational community partner use. There was a local summer camp there that was run in Victoria, who we were able to hire through the Canada Summer Jobs Program last year and pay a living wage to for the summer. Was hired on and was able to bring that summer camp to life at 595 Rymal through a partnership with the Rec Division. And that was something where the library came out, and Turner Park, who have been an amazing partner through this process, came to the table and said, we want to do more outreach. They connected with youth and children at the summer camp, and they said later that day they saw kids that had come into the library that had never been there before. Right. Through the Rec Division as well, we've had 7 youth in the area trained in LIT programming and first aid CPR. I'm glad that you brought up people who are potentially sitting in those seats one day, because I know there's a couple Soupy alumni that have sat around these chairs. And Eddie has actually just been hired to be a Soupy for the summer, and Barry's got his interview tomorrow. So if he needs a reference, again, maybe, so I think there's some of those tangible results that we're seeing there, and other community partners coming to the table. I know at the planning team, we've got John Howard looking to do some more outreach in the area. Obviously, the councillor's office connecting with different levels politically as well there in terms of some of that action. But, it's really about building those partnerships. And I think the residents can attest to is that just by organizing and just by being there and reaching out, now they've got people coming to them to say, how can we be a part of this, and what can we do to support this work, and how does that fit into your vision of the community about what you want to see. And I think that's a great testament to the work that they're doing and the outreach that they've been doing so far.
Thank you for that. That's a very fulsome answer. And I have to tell you, I sit on the Hamilton Library Board as well. And they are just so enormously proud of what's happening up in your neighborhood, and that they are able to be a part of that. The last question I have, Madam Chair, is around service clubs in the area. Has there been outreach to the Rotaries, the Lions, the different service clubs up in that area?
Not directly at this point, I would say. I think it's been focused kind of directly on the